All right, so the first thing I need to say at the start of this episode, before anything else happens, 2 things you guys got to know. 1, we have timestamps. We have video chapters, whatever you want to call it. This should work on both desktop and mobile. You will be able to see on the timeline different segments. We have like the different segments of the episode marked out. You know, these episodes tend to go over an hour, and this one might be even longer. So if you're not the kind of person who wants to listen through an entire podcast episode, don't worry, we got you covered. Other thing you guys got to know is that you do not need to go back and watch previous episodes. You literally could start right here. The title of this episode, it's probably like by the time if you're watching this around the time it got uploaded, it's probably going to say Podblivion season 1.5, and there's like episode numbers. Don't even worry about it. All you need to know is you do not need to go back. You could literally start right here. Skip around if you want to go back if you're curious. It's a different format, but literally you could start right here. Don't feel weird about jumping into the middle of this. This is, well, we're not sure what we're calling this. Like I said, it will probably be called something like Podblivion Season 1.5, Episode 1, around the time it gets uploaded. That's subject to change. We did this thing called Podblivion. It's on hiatus. We don't know when we're going to go back to that format, if at all. This is an off season. We're doing something different. Last season, we were rotating topics. With this, we wanted to keep talking about Judge Dredd, so we're doing an off season and just talking about Judge Dredd each episode. This might expand into something different, something new. We don't know. But yeah, we're just going to do this for now. And where are my manners? I am Void. This is on my channel, Voidblivion. I'm a gaming channel. That's why there is, you see, if you're watching this, you will see that there is a video game on screen right now. And I'm joined with my sister, Cassie.
Hello. I'm also in the room.
Yes, she's also in the room with me. And she is co-host. So yes, this is, yeah, like I said, we don't know what we're calling this. We're not going to do incredibly formal introduction. This is probably as formal as it'll get. And we're going to be talking about Judge Dredd. We're reading Judge Dredd. It's a comic. Basically, it's like not really a superhero, probably not as well known of a comic, but that's what makes it interesting. He's not really a superhero. He's like a super cop, and interesting things happen. For the most part, these stories are kind of bottlenecks, so you don't really need to worry about, like, we might discuss things that happen in previous stories, but, you know, you don't worry about it. If you're watching this, you're probably either here for Judge Dredd, which I guess would be surprising because we haven't really hit that niche yet, or you know what we're like. Maybe you've seen some clips of Podblivion and you just want to be here for, like, funny things that come up in conversation. We're known to make jokes and, you know, make each other laugh, so that's what you're in for. And just to address the game on screen, in the first season, we're trying something where we had a game. The game was Tears of the Kingdom. I was collecting Korok seeds. There were no more narrative beats, so it was less distracting. The game was still kind of distracting, though. Not gonna lie, like, we're trying to do a podcast, right? I have chosen a game that I think is a lot better to play in the background. This is Viscera Cleanup Detail. This is a game I've always wanted to play. I don't think there's any narrative for this game. I'm just gonna be doing stuff. And if you're only listening to this, then you're not really missing out on much. In fact, I will be lowering the volume of the game after we're done with this intro here and we start getting into Judge Dredd. So you might actually start hearing that music fade out right now. I think that's everything I have to say that's worth mentioning. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me just get the game started real quick. So yeah, Judge Dredd, a lesser known comic book character, but still the best known character within his publication.
I'm sorry, what is happening?
Oh yeah, hold on. I'm just to explain to you, Cassie, what I'm doing. I am cleaning up the aftermath of a sci-fi horror scene.
Oh.
Yes.
So there's no monsters that
there's no monsters. This isn't like there's no active threat here.
Oh, okay.
I'd be surprised if there were.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm just cleaning. There's no. I promise you, there's no horror. If there were horror, we would not be playing this.
Okay.
Anyway, so
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd. Yes. I gotta get my train of thought back. Right. Actually, so before we get into that, I just want to say that Judge Dredd is published by 2000 AD. Just a reminder for people who don't know. Judge Dredd is the most popular character, but there are other comics. And speaking of which, I just want to briefly mention, I have started reading Flesh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and wait, hold on. I'm getting something here. I finished reading Flesh.
What? Was it short or did you just like go through it really fast?
It was short, actually.
Okay. Okay.
I was surprised. It was, we were looking into this comic as a result of a Judge Dredd story, and it's got stories published between the 1970s and 2013-ish.
Okay.
But it hasn't been actually, it's had quite a few hiatuses.
Oh.
You know, since it's not as popular as Judge Dredd, it hasn't been going continuously, uninterrupted this whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. That being said, it is incredibly underrated. Underrated as hell.
Okay. So it was good?
It was good, yes.
Okay, cool.
There's only like a handful of stories. Each story is like an arc.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say there's like 4, 5 stories. Now, the thing is, the catch is that I actually have not read all of the stories. So I'm not finished, but I've read all that I can. Because the last 2 stories have not been digitally collected yet.
Oh.
But I can tell you, the first 2 stories were already great, but then big skip in terms of when the next one was published, which was like 2000s, and then it gets really good.
Okay.
It gets fucking insane.
So would you say it's only like maybe what, like 100 pages long or?
So I read from a collected edition. It collects like everything except for those last 2 stories. Mm-hmm. And that is like 200 something pages.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a volume of Judge Dredd.
Okay.
So yeah, it really wasn't that long at all. And I think my favorite story, the thing is, it's pretty bottleneck until Flesh, Texas, which is actually the start of a longer arc. Like each story is actually technically a chapter of the arc. So there was Flesh Texas, Flesh Midnight Cowboys, and I'm still missing out on Flesh Wastelanders, and Flesh Gorehead.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's really good. For those of you who don't know, it's about cowboys who travel back in time to harvest meat from dinosaurs, because we've apparently in the 23rd century, we've exhausted all of our natural resources and we have to eat synth meat. And then we're like, oh, well, we got time travel. Let's just go kill dinosaurs. Why don't we think of this before? So it sounds crazy. It gets crazier. And there's a deeper theme to it, which I appreciate. We're not going to go in depth about that because we're here to talk about Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
I guess if anyone was interested, we could think about changing the format to talk about more than just Judge Dredd. But yeah, no, we are going to get into Judge Dredd now. We are on the second half of volume. We finished the second half of volume 4, which is the last volume before we get into what is considered definitive Judge Dredd. Mm-hmm. Like we're talking like continuity, the way of the world, consistency. So this was the last bit before we get to that point where it's actually Judge Dredd. Like it's the definitive Judge Dredd. This is the way the world is. So that being said, my thoughts on this volume, this second half of this volume overall, bit mixed. I would say that at some times, half of the time, it felt like a desperate outcry of insanity.
I can see that.
Like outrageousness.
Yeah.
Like just pure over the top. Like, okay, let's just be as outrageous as possible. Everything we've done, we're going to just do it tenfold. We're going to be so crazy. We're going to do the craziest things possible. We're going to get disgusting. But I was pleasantly surprised there were actually some things that actually felt like volume 5.
Yeah.
Because I started on volume 5 and then I decided to go back because of things that I didn't know about. And so some of these stories, I read a good portion of volume 5, about half of it. And some of these stories were actually on par with volume 5.
Okay.
So it's definitely a sign that we're almost there.
Getting there.
Yeah, cool. We are getting there. So let's just start talking about these. We're going to talk about these stories one by one. Well, not all of them. Some of them are passable.
Yeah. First story that I wanted to talk about, just kind of jumping in if you're ready for it.
Yeah.
Is the Aggro Dome, which was literally the very first story of the volume, actually. Or
right.
the second half.
I had that one listed as well. I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Yeah. So the reason why I want to talk about the Aggro Dome is because, we jump right in and we're talking about an amusement park where it seems like all of the amusement parks in this world at this point are just like bad. Yeah,
there was Mutiland in the first half of the volume.
Yeah, it's like whoever thought these were good ideas.
Well, I think something that I'm realizing about Judge Dredd, even in the earlier volumes, is that it is sort of like satire.
Yeah.
So I guess that's in line. It's like because the author is the creator is American born but British.
Yeah.
So he's got this perspective of having lived in America, but it's also an outside perspective. So he can be critical of a lot of, the way society is or was.
Right. So I guess this story, to your point, is probably satirical because, like, of course it's going to go wrong. Because the concept is that it's an amusement park where people go to work off their aggressions. But, like, jumping into the story from the get-go, I knew it was already going to go wrong. Just because, like, we already know that reenacting aggressive behaviors doesn't help. Like, it actually only makes it worse.
Right. Like, if you do something so much as, like, punch your pillow, that's probably not a good thing.
Right. Well, like, it doesn't calm you down. It only riles you up more.
Right.
From a psychological standpoint. Like, it just gets you going. It gets your blood pumping. It doesn't help by reenacting those behaviors. And also, I was like, okay, this is not good because it's just gonna, like, give people an idea of harming other people for real, which is exactly what happened.
Right.
So I just wanted to, like, talk about this briefly because I'm like, oh yeah, I know this is gonna go wrong, and of course it did.
Right.
And, like, also part of what went wrong is people were shooting guns. And I thought they were toy guns, but they were real guns.
They had live ammunition in this place to get out anger. Yeah, that'll go well. And
I'm like, who thought that was a good idea to just let anybody willy-nilly have access to a gun and shoot it? But it's not like you're forced to shoot it in one direction. You can swing it around and shoot people.
Right, yeah.
Whoever, like, I thought it was going to be a toy. So when they mentioned that, I was shocked.
This is definitely along the lines of those outrageous stories I was talking about.
For sure.
Completely outrageous.
Also, just something funny I found. I wrote down the page because I don't have the image pulled up right now, but I can show you later. On page 171 of this, Dredd says, "The powder keg's about to blow." Meanwhile, he is surrounded by pure chaos. Already.
This powder keg's about to blow. Oh, is it?
And I'm like, did it already blow? Like, people are already, like, exploding things and running around, and he's just standing in the middle of it like, this powder keg is about to blow. I'm like, how can it get any worse?
Yeah, true.
Anyway, that's really all I wanted to talk about for that one. Any further thoughts for you?
No, I'd rather not talk about it at all. Like,
okay.
Not a fan. Not a fan at all.
Okay. In similar vein to that one, I also wrote down monkey business at the Charles Darwin block.
Yeah, that's the next one I got too. This one was outrageous, but honestly, probably less so, which is ironic.
Right.
This reminded me of a movie called Evolution, where there's an organism that, like, is rapidly evolving. In this case, it was de-evolution.
Right.
But it definitely, like, reminded me of that. Like, there's this foreign organism that is evolving on the planet. It goes from, like, more primitive life forms to, like, sapient life forms throughout the movie, and they're trying to contain it. In this case, it was a gas that was de-evolving people.
Yeah. And
they all were turning into, like, apes, which was... my favorite panel was, it smells like so-and-so. The monkeys just go, So, oh yeah, it was spaghetti. It smells like spaghetti.
Yeah, so... this one I didn't get. Because I was like, I don't get it. What's the point? Because, okay, for our audience, a scientist made something that they called the FRIB enzyme to reverse the process of evolution to discover the mystery of man's origins. And my initial thought was like, fucking why? Like, don't we already know that? Shouldn't they already know that at this point in history? Like, they're way far in the future.
Yeah, well, I guess this is reflecting current scientific developments of the 70s.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering.
You can only write what you know. I was a little surprised by that, though. Like, I was where you were at. Like, don't they know these things by then? I guess they didn't. I guess we weren't as far along with evolutionary theory. Like, ape or fish?
Yeah, I was like, what? No, it's obviously apes.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think that the whole reason why we have this thing, like the missing link, or maybe I'm thinking of the one from Monsters vs. Aliens. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking that one. I forgot what the concept of the missing link was, but in Monsters vs. Aliens, it's like between ape and fish.
Oh, weird.
Technically, we did come from fish also, if you think about it, because that's where all land-based life comes from.
Yeah.
Came out of the water.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not a question of which did we come from. It's a matter of which did we come from first. What's the earliest ancestor?
So maybe they were exploring this concept of, because clearly this story came from the fact that we were discovering this kind of stuff around that time, or had already done so, but wanted to further the information we had.
Right.
But maybe they were trying to like narrow it down to like a freaking cell. I don't know. Like a tiny little cell, not just like an organism, like an ape.
Right.
I don't know. I was like, literally why? Like, this is so stupid. Also, minor tangent, but when they were going through and like stopping this whole thing after people were de-evolving and turning into like monsters, basically. First of all, some of the monsters were completely outlandish.
Well, I think the fish people was kind of cool. There were fish people, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but they got more and more like crazy. And then the final dude that was like the most
Just an amoeba.
was just like a blob.
Yeah, an amoeba.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It was a little bit weird to me, but every time they came across a person, they referred to them as like unemployed so-and-so. So like unemployed plastine worker or unemployed whatever. Why were they all referred to as unemployed?
Well, there's a lot of unemployment in Judge Dredd.
But then why were they a thing then? Like they're a plastine worker, but they're unemployed? Like that, I was confused.
Oh, wait, a plastine worker and unemployed?
Yeah, so they said a name. This is so-and-so, like unemployed plastine worker. Or they would say like, or for example, like unemployed teacher.
They were formerly a plastine worker, probably. Remember there's the plastine incident?
Plastine worker is just one of the many examples I wrote down. There were other examples that they said. So like, and I can't think of them right now, but for example, they could say unemployed teacher, unemployed garbage worker. Mm-hmm. But basically they had a variety of different professions and they put unemployed in front of it.
Right.
Why?
I gotta be honest, I never really paid attention to that part of the story.
Oh, okay. It just bothered me.
I was just focused on the ape people.
Okay. It just bothered me because I was confused why they were referring to everybody as being unemployed, even though they had a profession.
But why?
Like, that would be the equivalent of, like, if you're unemployed, you're unemployed.
Right.
You know? Like, I don't understand that. There's underemployed.
Yeah.
But that's different than unemployed. Unemployed means you don't have a job. Underemployed means you're working like retail, but yet you should be, you're qualified to be like a professor, for example, but you're working retail. So you have a master's degree or a doctorate, but you're underemployed because you can't find a job in whatever you're qualified to do.
Right.
But that's different, and they're calling everybody unemployed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. There's just a lot of unemployment in the world of Judge Dredd.
I was hoping you had an answer.
I really do not. I'm sorry.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
We can move on.
Yeah. Oh God, the next story I have written down is not one I want to talk about, but what do you have written down?
I have Otto Sump's ugly clinic.
Yeah.
Okay, why do you not want to talk about this story?
It was atrocious.
Okay, so it was atrocious.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked it.
What?
Only hear me out. Hear me out. Knowing how we were talking about how Judge Dredd is satirical.
Yeah.
I think the author was trying to talk about beauty standards and put a spin on that.
Okay.
And it was like an interesting commentary regarding trends in beauty.
Yeah.
It was just like the reverse of that to put it into perspective how outlandish trends and beauty standards are. So they were reversing it to kind of put it into perspective, because how better else to say this is ridiculous than giving the reverse of that to really like make you think.
Right.
Because we have beauty standards and they're deemed as normal. You know, women, they're like, oh, let's have big breasts. I'm going to get a boob job. And that's deemed as normal. But the reverse of that would be deemed as not normal, you know?
Right.
So reverse that, and it's just like people are becoming ugly because it's trendy and they want to be deemed as interesting or be talked about.
God, but it was so repulsive.
It was repulsive. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But I thought the underlying theme of it was kind of interesting and cool.
I think the only thing I really enjoyed about it, well, a few things. One, there was an obvious parody. Well, maybe it was a parody. I don't know. Sump Tower.
Oh.
Like, come on. Come on, man. We don't need to name names here, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Obviously, that seems kind of like a direct call out. Also, I did like how they went into, and maybe this was discussed in an earlier story, I like how they went into the fact that judges cannot be used for branding or like advertising.
Yes.
You can't have a judge be like a mascot for a brand or something. It's illegal.
Right. Well, and that makes sense too, because they have to uphold the law.
Right.
So if you try and use them for branding when they're not technically endorsing something, like that can be dangerous for people.
Right.
They're like, oh, a judge is endorsing this, so it must be safe or it must be good or whatever. And that could be endangerment to others, actually.
Right.
So it's good that that's illegal, that they established that.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing was disgusting. I agree. I think the biggest reason why I liked the story, though, was because of the ending. I liked how even though Judge Dredd shut it down for being unhealthy, it still continued to be a thing for the ultra wealthy.
Right. That was kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm talking about in terms of commentary on trends in beauty, because it made the whole thing realistic. Like it relates to how rules don't apply to the rich that apply to the poor. Like they can get away with a lot more things. And also, it relates to how with a lot of trends, they don't continue for a long period of time unless it's unattainable for poor people.
Right.
If you think about it. Part of the reason why beauty standards and trends last long term is because it's simply that it's available to people that have money. Right. Because they want what most other people can't have. So that's kind of applying to beauty standards in this case, or in the Judge Dredd story, ugly standards, and how it continues to be a thing for rich people and how they can get away with it, even though it is deemed unhealthy and Judge Dredd did indeed shut it down. Right. Rich people can still get away with it because they have money.
Well, they can be ugly all they want, right?
Yeah. But I just, despite the concept being disgusting and horrendous, the commentary on beauty trends and standards and stuff is what I found interesting.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that's reasonable enough to talk about it.
Yeah.
What's your next story?
Nightmare Gun.
Okay. Then we could skip over Megaway Madness.
Okay. Did you want to talk Megaway Madness? That was the
one where there was like that big vehicle that was like a refueling station for cars on the Megaway, because you know there's lots of vehicles always on the go. Sometimes you have to go so far because it's a really Mega City 1 is a really big city. Mm-hmm. At least in the earlier half of this, you have to go so far that you need to refuel while you're on the road. I guess there's not really any gas stations.
I guess it would be too congested to have a gas station.
Right. But I feel like two aspects of the story have already been talked about previously. One being like we've had like on the road stuff covered before. We've also had out of control computer controlled vehicles covered before. So I didn't really think it was worth talking about.
Okay.
I do think it is funny though that the guy who bailed just had the whole vehicle just crash on top of him. Yeah. He was like, "Oh shit." And then he gets splatted.
Yeah. But I think because we already addressed that stuff, that's why I skipped over it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. So Nightmare Gun.
I love this story.
I loved this story too. So basically, there are crime syndicate members, and they somehow obtained a gun that amplifies your worst fears.
Yes, and these guys are actually aliens.
Yes.
They are from off-world. There's some interplanetary crime going on, which is dope.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they have a gun that amplifies your worst fears, and basically it leads to death through like a heart attack because your worst fears are amplified.
Yeah, either a heart attack or you end up like putting yourself in danger because of the hallucination. Like you could end up falling over a building, off a cliff, into the train tracks.
Right.
Yeah. So pretty interesting concept. What you want to like discuss about that specifically though?
Specifically, I just liked it probably because of how it related to how strong your fears can be and psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's pretty on par with other stories in terms of like what can happen in Judge Dredd and just crazy stuff. But I just think I was invested in it because of that aspect of it. The other thing I specifically wanted to talk about is how I was honestly really disappointed in the ending, how Judge Dredd got shot with the gun and there was no fear.
I actually liked that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, explain your reasoning.
Because it goes into his characterization.
Right.
Most judges are human. Mm-hmm. Most. He is not one of them. The reason he is he is best of the best at what he does is because something about the way he trained and the way he came out was so intense, so perfected that he'll be more machine than man at points. Mm-hmm. It's why he is the ideal judge. It's why he's the protagonist of these stories, because he's just the best at what he does, and that means he's hardened mentally.
Okay, I can see your point with that.
Yeah,
how like the whole point is that he's hardened.
I can understand why you wouldn't be disappointed if you were curious to see what he's afraid of.
Right.
Like even Batman has a fear. Mm-hmm. In episodes of like or when there's stories involving the Scarecrow, there's usually something to Batman that is revealed through the fear gas. But then Batman also is able to overcome that because that's who he is.
Right.
Judge Dredd, though, he's actually a step above that.
Yeah. So I guess I was disappointed because, like you said, I did want to see Dredd's fear because we have yet to see that. And obviously it's established that he clearly doesn't have any fears. Yeah. Based off of this story. But I feel like it might have been a missed opportunity. Reason being, if he had a fear, it would make his character more relatable and interesting. And then on top of that, they could extend that story or that concept by making Dredd overcome that fear. Right. And therefore have a character arc, just like what you mentioned with Batman. And I think in some ways, it's actually more commendable to have a fear and overcome it as opposed to not having any fear at all. Yeah. You know? I can see that. I mean, this is also a pre-Volume 5 story, so I guess take it with a grain of salt. It might be subject to change. Right. Maybe he ends up being more human. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. There's nothing to suggest that it's going to go that direction so far. So right. I don't know. Either way, I liked the story. And this was actually, I feel like this was on par with Volume 5. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Definitely awesome. If this was on par with Volume 5, then I can pretty much guarantee that I'll definitely like Volume 5 and after. If that's on par, then cool. I think it's just from my perspective, I would have liked a bit more character arc and kind of exploring that because they could have done that, but they didn't. So that's kind of where I was at with it. But I don't know. So do you think that he is a step above? Like it's better to be more of a robot? I mean, it's got its flaws for like understanding the human condition. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely useful for what he does. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's interesting. Okay. Interesting. Different perspective. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next one I got, if you're ready to move on. Yeah, I'm ready. The FINK. The FINK. Mm-hmm. The FINK. Yeah, so that does skip over a few things I had written down. Okay. But I don't think I'm interested in talking about those. I just want to bring up that Walter is still around. Yeah. Walter the robot. We kind of forgot about him. Yeah, he's still around, though. They've acknowledged him, so he's still here for the time being. I don't know if he's going to be a thing in Volume 5. Do you think he might just be written out? Or at least, even if he still exists, it's not like Judge Dredd is at home enough to be mentioning Walter?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay.
Could be. Yeah, either he gets written out somehow or he's just not mentioned anymore or as frequently.
It's just not really relevant.
Yeah. There was this whole thing with projecting advertisements on the moon, which is whack as hell.
Yeah, that was weird.
I guess that was just like satirical commentary on capitalism.
Yeah.
And that's what we skipped over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but yeah, the FINK. Dude, the FINK. The FINK was such a good story.
It was it multiple parts?
I think it was. I think the FINK was multiple parts.
Ooh, you suck.
Yeah, I think it was too. Because I'm pretty sure it was like part 1, part 2. They were relatively short parts, but there was multiple parts to this story.
Yeah, and it was actually a bit of a follow-up to the Judge Child quest.
Yeah.
Which had these villains, the Paw Angel and his sons. They're like these criminals, and there's a whole thing going on with that. Judge Dredd ends up killing them. Well, they all end up dying, sometimes indirectly.
Yeah.
But Judge Dredd is still getting blamed for their deaths by the secret last remaining member of the Angel family, FINK Angel, who is just like a ghoul from Fallout. He's like this guy who was like his whole thing when this guy, like they go into the backstory of the Angel gang.
Yeah.
His whole thing was hiding in a hole and like, I'm in this hole now.
He just liked to live in a hole.
He liked to live in a hole and
with
just
his head sticking
he liked
out.
to be a dirty guy living out in a hole. And that was his whole thing. He wasn't interested in, he didn't go out killing people. He was just like, I'm in a hole now.
He's kind of just like a hermit.
Yeah, that was his whole thing. And Paw Angel's like, attaboy, son. Be a recluse in a hole. You go.
Yeah.
So he just goes off on his own. He's like, yeah, I'm not sticking around for these meatheads are going to get caught. He goes around. He finds a pet rat from the, what do they call it? I guess it's just a wasteland rat.
Yeah, I think they call it cursed earth rat.
Oh yeah, a cursed earth rat, because the wasteland and Judge Dredd between the mega cities is called the cursed earth, and a lot of radioactive shit's out there, including rats. We've actually met these rats before in a much funnier context, but this one is just like, his name is Ratty, and he's the goat. Mm-hmm. He's just awesome.
He wears a little green fedora.
Yeah, or was it like a bowler hat?
Maybe it was a bowler hat.
Wait, the rat was wearing a hat? I forgot that. Oh my god, he was.
Yeah, I think it was a bowler hat. It wasn't a fedora.
Yeah,
it was a bowler hat.
No, he's not the kind of rat that goes with a lady.
No, he was wearing a bowler hat. So I guess when I was initially reading the story, and they answered it later with the fact that he got radiated, but initially I was like, what is he? He isn't quite human. And then they explained that it was like radiation later.
I thought he was like a murder hobo. Like he just looks like that because he's a murder hobo.
Yeah. I was like, how did he get like this? What the hell?
But no, he essentially became a ghoul from Fallout. Like in Fallout, people become ghouls when they're out on the wasteland too long. They lose their nose. They just become ghoulish in appearance. They can go crazy and actually they can go rabid and eat human flesh or attack anything that moves. So he basically just became a ghoul in Fallout. A Fallout ghoul, and
I guess my only confusion with that, though, is to me, it didn't quite make sense. Because there was plenty, I'm pretty sure we've established there's plenty of other people in Cursed Earth that have been living there their whole life. But they never became a ghoul. They just had like weird mutations like big left ear.
Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, this is all pre-Volume 5, so I guess it's all changing.
Because like what changes to where some people just have bodily...
I guess radiation concentration is a thing.
Oh, God, that would make sense.
Like, some areas got hit harder.
Yeah, because some people, they live there, and it's not like they're living in the domes that they have out there. They're just living in the open elements. But all they have is a bodily mutation, like a weird-looking face or a big ear or something. Right. So they're not like a ghoul.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he just like, I'm going to live like this. And because maybe he was going places where no one else was going. And then
that could be, he was kind of like traveling around and then found the rat when he was trying to dig his little hole somewhere else. Yeah. Away from his like familiar home. And then just was like, oh, I like you. We're friends now. I guess.
Yeah, the rat just looked at him and was like, we're friends now. Which was kind of cute, I guess, in a weird kind of way.
By the way, Did the tornado rats somehow get into the city?
Tornado rats?
That's just like
Devil's lapdogs?
there we go. Those guys. Did they somehow like
It wasn't
migrate?
a rat-nados, or maybe a rat torrent, maybe, but not a rat-nado.
Okay, but did the
That
rats
would be
somehow like
something else.
migrate? How did they get into the city? Like what happened?
We
there?
have no idea what happened with the Devil's lapdogs.
Okay.
They were just out there, and we've never talked about them since. But hey, one of them is the villain's sidekick in this story.
Right, because I feel like this is a reference to that.
Yeah, it does seem to be.
Okay, so the FINK with this story, I specifically wanted to talk about the Resyk, or how
Resyk?
the machine at the end.
Oh, recycling. Yeah.
Resyk. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. The Resyk is what they called it. So, first of all, did you want to talk about anything else related to the FINK?
I just thought Ratty was worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Ratty's pretty good.
Yeah.
Ratty lives.
So I wanted to talk about the Resyk, which is a body recycling plant.
Yep. No burial, no cremation, just recycling bodies.
Yeah, so they were repurposing chemicals from the body so they don't go to waste. Because they're like, oh, in this day and age, we gotta repurpose everything. We gotta make sure nothing goes to waste. Blah 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 blah. I don't know how you reacted to this, but I was horrified and disgusted.
Yeah, it's like, part of me was like, well, this seems typical for this world. And part of me was like, what the hell?
I didn't even have the thought that I was like, well, this is typical for this world. I was like, this is gross and should not be happening at all. It should not be a thing. Like, why can't they just cremate the bodies? If they have the technology to get out the chemicals and chemically separate whatever they need from the bodies, why can't they just cremate everything to ashes and then go from there?
I don't know.
So I just want to say, to get my point across of why I was so disgusted by this concept, is because it felt like body mutilation, like corpse body mutilation. Which, in case you don't know, is literally a crime.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, which is why I was so disgusted by this concept, because body mutilation and corpse mutilation is literally illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a major crime. Which is why I was wondering, like, why can't you just,
I guess you know
cremate
more
it?
about the law than I do.
I do indeed. So, for your information, corpse mutilation and body mutilation is a crime, and it actually determines the severity of punishment. So, like, let's say there's a guy, and he murders somebody.
Damn. Okay.
Murder is one thing, and it comes with a charge, obviously. If he murdered and proceeded to cut up the body into different parts, that's another crime on top of murder, because it's increasing the violence of the crime itself.
Right.
And it's kind of like, it's a step beyond just murdering somebody. It's a horrific act that you're basically just like, it's like the concept of beating a dead horse. Like, the horse is already dead and now you're just like beating it to a pulp.
Right.
It makes the whole crime itself more horrific. So if the crime itself has an increase in like how horrific it is, it therefore warrants an increase in severity of the punishment. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess, the law becomes different as needs are different.
So I guess I get that, because we're in the future, so the needs are different. So they're saying that this is no longer a crime, but it just felt so wrong.
Well, I guess think about it this way. Mutilation is a crime, but cremation isn't.
Right, but you're not breaking up the body. Cremation is different because it's showing respect towards the body. You are having the body stay intact as it is, and then just like burning the whole thing to ashes. Versus body mutilation is you're like chopping off body parts, you're tearing off skin and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's like a disrespect thing of like you're not being respectful towards the now deceased loved one of people.
Yeah. I think it's more of a commentary on the state of the world. Like,
I guess.
Yeah, it's disgusting to us, but like for them, it's like, nah, we gotta reserve our resources. We gotta use everything we can because we can't. We were gonna like run out of resources and stuff like that.
So, question: did your brain, when you were reading this, justify the story or what was going on? Because you're like, oh, well, it's in the future, whatever. Like, what were you thinking?
I was surprised, but then I was like, well, I guess this is just part of this world. So, and the main subject of the story was not that plant; it was the FINK.
Right. So I guess since the main subject was the FINK, I guess in my brain I'm like, this wasn't necessary. They should have left this out, and I couldn't get past it just because of how horrific I felt it was. Being honest.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's like a federal crime. Like, it's up there. Okay.
Yeah.
You just won't understand.
No. It's just, it's not our world.
Ugh. It just gave me the heebie-jeebies. I didn't like it.
Oh, yeah, no. You're allowed to have the heebie-jeebies.
Okay.
That's fine. That's understandable.
Okay, fine. Moving on.
Yeah. What story you got next on your list?
Pirates of the Black Atlantic.
Okay. That might be next. Hold on. Let me check my list. Yeah, me too. Me too. There's a lot to unpack here. I found it really interesting. There was a lot of world building in this one, and I don't know how much of it is going to stick, but
right.
I found it very interesting. So we got this thing called the Black Atlantic, which has been talked about before. It's called the Black Atlantic because it's so goddamn polluted. The water is black. And if you go in there without like a medic on standby, you are going to die of the toxins. Like you take a swim, you're dead. It's that bad.
Which, like, you'd think if we're over here recycling fucking bodies, you'd think they'd have a way to deal with pollution in this world.
Nope. Yeah.
That does not make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a writer's conflict there. Yeah. I think that the Black Atlantic stories were one guy. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to the author for that one. Yeah, but okay, so here's what's interesting about this one. There were some details that were revealed, such as they referred to something called the Cuban wastes. So that tells me that we had something like the Cuban Missile Crisis, but Cuba got blown to hell.
Yeah.
Cuba is no more. It's gone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Cuba.
Goodbye, Cuba. It's no longer existing.
Yeah, so Cuba is gone. The other thing, and this is a bit of an insight to just how bad the nuclear crisis was that led to the events of Judge Dredd. These pirates, these muty pirates, have access to is it underwater? It's underwater, right?
I think it's underwater.
There's an underwater base.
Yeah, it's like a underwater, like, big ass submarine.
Yeah, like it's like a submarine or like a naval platform, something like that. I don't know. It was kind of hard to tell. It's
kind of like the water version of, how we have spaceships, but then we have like a space, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Like
space. Like
we were talking previously on something or other about like the International Space Station.
Oh yeah.
So there's spaceships. And then there's space stations, which are bigger.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So it's like a naval station.
Yeah.
Underwater. Yeah. Like an underwater base, underwater station. Yeah. Wherever it is. The point I'm trying to get to here is that this thing has 500 goddamn nuclear warheads in it.
Yeah. That's
500.
Ridiculous.
A single one. And they said that there were more than one of these things. So it's like, what the hell? Like, what? Like, dude, actually what?
So I looked it up. When this story was written, the Cold War was still happening.
Yeah.
It was like towards the end of the Cold War, but that just gives some context to this story because I was like, why? What the hell? So I think that was like at the forefront of everybody's brains.
I guess so, yeah.
So that's why the writers like used this as like a detail to the story. But also I'm like, I don't know, if you're reading a comic, isn't the whole point to like escape reality?
Right. No. Well, I mean, it's satire.
I guess.
Satire deals with reality.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
I don't know. Like, would you rather, if you're reading a comic, would you rather escape reality or be rewinded of the shitty, reminded?
I don't want to be rewinded, no.
I do not want to be rewinded. But if you're reading a comic, would you rather escape reality or be reminded of the shitty world you're currently living in?
Well, these guys were in the UK, so
They're like, whatever.
we'll let the Americans cope.
We're like, we don't have to deal with this shit.
Yeah, we're an outside perspective. I know.
I guess that's a good point.
I guess I'm starting to see why Judge Dredd hasn't gotten as popular as it has as quickly, because maybe it was distasteful to Americans at the time. Who knows?
It could have been, honestly. Yeah. So the whole thing, because it's about the U.S., but it's commentary on the U.S. and the way we are. I think if you're actively living in it, maybe to your point, it's offensive and distasteful, versus people that are not living here are like, oh, well, we are free to like make commentary on this because like we're separated from it.
Right.
Yeah. In terms of what's happening in the story, I kind of wanted to talk about some story details that happened.
Okay.
So overall, a pirate captures scientists and threatens to kill people if they don't cooperate. And they want them to make and repair nuclear warheads to therefore nuke Megacity 1, why they thought this was a good idea, I have no clue.
Well, I mean, they're not in Megacity 1.
No, they're not in Megacity 1, but why are they just like starting shit?
Well, the guy that is in charge of it all, he's just loony. He's mad. He's crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
he's just screwed up in the head. He thinks his mother is a giant mutant octopus.
Yeah, that's true. He's just psycho.
Yeah. I mean, and we've had threats from outside of Megacity 1 threaten it like this before. Like there was this guy covered in plants, called himself Father Earth. There was a horde of large mutant spiders and other things like that. So yeah, the Wasteland often poses threats to Megacity 1.
Yeah,
this was no exception. But my God, 500 nuclear warheads is quite something.
It is indeed.
If I had been like drinking water when I read that, I would have spit it out, because that is a lot of nuclear warheads to come from one single facility.
Right.
And they said that there were multiple of these. So potentially there's however many there are out there, they each have 500 nuclear warheads.
That's a ridiculous number of nuclear warheads.
Dude.
How many nuclear warheads exist in the world today?
Probably not that many. At least I hope not. It's kind of expensive to make nukes.
Well, it is, and I know that certain countries have more nuclear warheads than others for political reasons.
Right.
Let me just look that up real quick.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get a concrete number. You're going to get an estimate, but it might even be that no one has nuclear warheads. Maybe we're all just threatening each other, but it's all like empty threats. Maybe we use up all of our nuclear warheads, or maybe they've been sitting around so long that they're actually not functional. Okay,
so I actually got a pretty decent concrete number.
Okay, we're getting sniped by an assassin. Okay, read it.
Anyway, well, this is according to AI Overview, so it might not be accurate information, just putting that out there.
Okay, we're safe.
It says there are approximately 12,000 to 13,000 nuclear warheads in the world, with Russia and the United States possessing nearly 90% of the total.
So 500 would be more than a third of that number.
No, it's 12,000.
Oh, 12,000.
Not 1,200.
Oh, right. Okay.
12,000.
So 500 is a small fraction of that number.
Yeah. So let's go off of 13,000, the larger of the two options for the numbers. 500 would be about 4%.
Damn. That's still kind of big though. Like
it is. Like 500 is a lot.
Yeah.
Just to have in.
And when dealing in percentages, when you're talking about a really big quantity, 4%, that's like 4% of the population is still a lot of people.
Right. And they were saying there were multiple of these.
Right.
Just everywhere, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for reference, what's interesting is that it says, while this is a significant decrease from the Cold War era, the global stockpile remains a concern. It says that in the next sentence.
Interesting.
So I guess to be fair, that gives sort of the Cold War really does give context to this whole story and how that was a concern at the time, which is why they were talking about it in a story. But regardless, that's a lot of nuclear warheads.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is.
I also wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on how the main scientist earlier on in this story. I believe it was Genomatrix.
Something like that.
Something like that. The main scientist, basically, who was in charge of repairing the nuclear warheads, she was punished for cooperating with the pirates.
Right. Yeah, that kind of sucked.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that?
Kind of sucked.
Just kind of sucked?
It kind of sucked, yeah.
Okay.
I kind of harsh. I mean...
Okay, I'm glad you agree.
The law, they are prioritizing the law over other considerations, but there's no courtrooms to deal with this. And courtrooms would, with all the people they had to deal with that are committing crimes, courtrooms are kind of, they take too long.
Yeah.
That's why they have the judge system. So it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you agree, because I felt that was harsh too. Like, I do understand why they punished her, since even more people died as a result.
Right. A few nukes were fired off.
Yeah. And most of the nukes were destroyed midair.
But one single warhead hit a building.
And a lot of people died.
A lot of people died.
So I get it. They're like, you made the wrong choice for cooperating, so you're going to be punished as a result. However, we have seen in the past that they have been lenient and made exceptions related to mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is before Volume 5, so maybe this isn't like canon or what would actually happen post Volume 5. But I felt like with this situation, they could have made an exception or gave her a more lenient punishment, because they could argue that she was under extreme duress in this situation.
Yeah.
I guess just so you know what I'm talking about, I actually looked up the definition of the duress defense, and it argues that the crime was not committed of free will, but because of a threat of death or serious bodily harm. And so basically it argues that the blame lies with the person who applied coercion and can lead to dismissal of charges or acquittal for the defendant if argued successfully.
Okay.
So I guess I was kind of thinking about the duress defense and how you could argue she was threatened and was literally told, if you don't do this thing, then we will kill all of your other fellow scientists and friends and acquaintances.
Right.
Which is why she did it. I don't know if in this situation, the duress, if you're talking about technicalities, I don't know if the duress defense would be successfully argued in this situation, because I don't know if they would be so nitty gritty that they're like, okay, well, she herself did not have immediate threat or bodily harm. It was just threats to others. So I don't know if like threats to family members applies to the duress defense, but I just found that. So like legal speak, it might not be successful, but I felt like it should be something to consider, Yeah.
Well, so I guess moving on into the story, they eventually resolve things, and it's found out that actually the whole thing was orchestrated by the Sov Block, or Sov Block, however you want to pronounce that, which is a thing that I've always been baffled by in this goddamn world, and I don't know why it continues to be a thing.
Right. So, question for that. Was there just like a section in the US that is for the Soviets? Like, what is going on? I understand the moon.
I don't know. They always refer to it as the eastern part of the city. So, like, it seems to be...
Why aren't they over in fucking Russia or something? Why aren't they here?
I don't know. They've never explained this. They've never explained this, and it baffles me. Why are you letting these Russians camp out on your soil and be like, we got nukes, we're going to kill people, we're going to do bad stuff, and the Americans are just like, okay, you can live here.
Don't they have other land to be on? Like, okay, I understand the moon.
Dude, they're not... You understand the what?
The moon.
Oh, right, the moon base.
The moon base.
Yeah, that makes sense. But then, like, you get, like, the Sov Block. The Sov Block, why is this a thing? This is the second time this has been featured. So I feel like we're just going to not get an explanation for this at all.
I think it's the third time, because there was that fucking boat in the water, too, with the Soviets.
No. So that was first time, I think, right?
I thought the moon was the first time.
No. The moon I can excuse. That's not the Sov Block. That's the Soviet base. The moon is free country. That's like new territory. You can claim that. That's fine. That's 100% fine.
Exactly.
It's the Sov Block is baffling to me.
So I guess with the boat, there was a boat that they were just like parked off the coast of Mega City 1. But if that's like in international waters, I can also excuse that. I think there was a Soviet.
But they mentioned a Sov Block, though, in that one.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Is it like they're just coming close to the U.S., but they're not on U.S. soil? Or do they literally just have a little section for themselves within the city that they just reside in?
That's what the implication is.
Like freaking, I don't know, like, you know how during Nazi Germany, they had little like, for Jewish people, they had like little like special designated cities for them that they lived in.
Right.
Is it like that, but the Soviets?
I think so. I don't know.
But like, why? Don't they have their own land?
Yeah, I do.
Why are they there?
I don't know,
I don't
man.
get it.
I don't know. It's baffling. That's all I can say. It's baffling.
Yeah.
And I do not care for it.
Well, I also didn't care for the switch up of the Sov Block agent controlling the pirate captain.
Yeah, that was also weird.
It felt so weird because the captain previously seemed like he was just crazy and he wasn't listening to anybody. But then they like suddenly changed it to where his second in command was a Soviet agent and like was controlling him like he was a robot. And I'm like, what is even happening?
It felt like a last minute, like a last minute, like, oopsie, we did a writing thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Okay, I'm glad you caught that because I was like, what is going on?
What is going on here?
I think the whole thing just seemed so crazy because it felt like it was just kind of like they didn't quite solidify the story in advance, but it was just kind of feeding into like the whole like Cold War fear that was happening at the time.
Right.
But I just did not like the switch up and it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I feel like it's just going to be like the whole thing is just never going to be addressed by the time we get to Volume 5.
Oh.
No, it hasn't been addressed.
It hasn't been addressed.
No, it hasn't. So I feel like we're never going to get a goddamn explanation for what's going on with this Sov Block thing. And it's probably just going to get written out at some point.
I hope it does, though.
Because, like, we're going to get to the point where the Cold War is no longer a thing.
Right.
And it's going to be like, okay, well, what do we do with this Sov Block? Well, we just feel silly now. So
they're so caught up in their own like fears and shit that's going on during the Cold War that just like it.
And it's not even, I don't even think it's a UK concern, really. I feel like the US was more concerned with that, right?
Right. Maybe other countries were concerned with like if it amplified.
Well, yeah, but yeah, like we were one of the triggers, I guess, the potential triggers.
Right.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
Like it was mainly between two countries.
Long story short, it was stupid.
And yeah.
And I did not care for it.
I mean, I guess you could argue that whole, to be fair, the whole Cold War is kind of stupid.
Well, yeah.
Like
it's two major world powers.
It's just like whose dick is bigger.
Right.
Like I remember learning about it in history class. I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. Why did this happen? Like, weren't we just like, I could have sworn I learned about the two.
Well, so it was stupid, but we know why it happened because, you know, it relates to the way we ended World War II. And then there was this whole thing about like advancing nuclear technology further. And it never went anywhere, thank goodness.
Right.
I mean, we did have advancements, but none of those advancements were used.
Right.
I think the only nuke to actually be used for a political or other purpose outside of testing was the ones that hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Right.
And thank goodness that we haven't really used nukes for anything like that ever again. Mm-hmm. Like it's only been testing and all that stuff.
Right. But like, I distinctly remember learning about the Cold War and reading about how I'm pretty sure at the time the two leaders of each country would visit each other to like show each other like what advancements we had made. And it even boiled down to like kitchen appliances and shit like that of like, oh, we have nicer things. Like, oh, we have like better plates. Like, I don't even know. It was like so petty.
Yeah.
I remember thinking it was so petty and stupid.
Right. Well, anyway, I just really hope that we never get a Sov Block story again.
Yeah. God.
Very next story is a it's another stupid game show story.
Oh,
where
yeah.
There's like this screwed up game show that's happening and people are probably getting murdered as a result. They are getting murdered as a result.
Right.
We've had a few stories like this before, and I did not care for them really. But in this one, of all the stories, Judge Pepper dies.
Yep.
Judge Pepper. Oh my God,
Who
dude.
has been a consistent character for a long time.
He's been a character since the Tyrant Cal story arc.
Wasn't that in like volume 2?
Yeah, that was volume 2, and Judge Pepper is introduced, and he's this awesome guy who ends up becoming a judge deputy or something like that of Mega City 1. He's this awesome guy who, like, he's got a peg leg. He was out of commission because, you know, judges who get crippled like that, they aren't fit to serve as normal judges, but he was put in a position of power and just an all-around pretty cool guy, and then they just kill him off.
Yeah.
In a stupid game show related episode. That was just like, I was like, no, he can't die. No way. And he did.
And he did.
He did die. It turns out he could, and he did.
Yeah, it turns out he could and he did.
And I was like, God damn it. No. That was just why? Just why, dude?
Yeah, the whole story was just like, it could have not been a thing.
It could have not been a thing.
And then Judge Pepper wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
But here we are.
But here we are. He died. And I'm sad.
Yeah.
And a little ticked off.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally nothing else worth mentioning, though, in that story.
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on, I guess.
My next one was Who Killed Pug Ugly?
Really? Really?
Only because of one concept.
Okay, well, I just want to quickly talk about the Lawmaster Goes Haywire.
Okay.
I
love your reaction. You're like, really?
Dude, I had the same thoughts about that one as Otto Sump story.
Okay.
It's repulsive, and I did not care for it.
Okay.
But quickly, let's just talk about that Lawmaster story. I like to talking about the Lawmaster, which is a judge's bike. There's a computer built in. This one talked about what happens if the computer in a Lawmaster goes haywire and just starts freaking killing people. Mm-hmm. And I liked that. That was like, oh, damn, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And a Lawmaster is so capable that if it were to go haywire, every judge in the area has to respond.
Right.
And judges are actually at risk of death from this Lawmaster.
Right.
Because it's that dangerous. It's like it's got built-in cannons, guns. It can think on its own. Usually get the response of a judge, though. But yeah, in this case, they just started killing people.
I forget. Did they establish that, like, it only responds to a judge's voice or recognition or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it's judges, probably the designated judge, but also it could probably respond to higher up judges.
Right.
Or other judges if needed. If you have like a voice command, like, oh, there's a situation where I need to take over. This wasn't covered, of course. We don't have a.
We're just
speculating here.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was a little interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, Lawmasters, what if they go haywire? You know?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it did feel like just one of the many what if technology goes berserk kind of stories.
Right, and we've had a lot of that, but usually it was with robots.
Right.
But yeah, also it extends to computers that are controlling vehicles. Mm-hmm. So actually, that is the third instance we've had of that. But since it's a Lawmaster, it was a little bit different.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any further thoughts on that, though. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was, like, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're talking about Pug Ugly.
Okay. First of all, I want to say I find it funny that with both Otto Sump and Pug Ugly, you are repulsed by these concepts more than the fucking Resyk. The body mutilation. I don't get it.
Well, those people are already dead. They're not living ugly.
I guess.
I'm just saying.
Okay, well, I only wanted to talk about this because of this concept that they decided to come up with randomly called cellular psychic regenesis.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that either.
Okay. Why were you not a fan of this?
It was stupid.
It was stupid? Okay.
It was completely stupid.
Okay.
It was so goddamn stupid. We're already dealing with an ugly character. Why do we gotta be... Why? Why do we gotta do this?
Okay, so I'm assuming this is probably something that does not extend past volume 5.
I really hope it doesn't.
Because it is stupid, I agree.
I am reaching my limit here on the number of things that I wish would not be a thing past volume 5.
You're like, I hope this isn't a thing. I hope this isn't a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, with this, I know it's stupid, but I kind of wanted to talk about a little thought experiment for a second.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Thought experiment time.
Okay, so...
We did this morning.
Okay, so, well, let me just give the overview for people who don't know what we're talking about. In the story Who Killed Pug Ugly, a band called the Buglies came up with a publicity stunt, basically, to get more famous by killing their lead singer to make headlines. And then they were replacing said lead singer with a vocal transplant where they kept the vocal cords of the original lead singer and were able to put it in some random ass new dude.
Yep.
Which, anyway, that was stupid. But then there's a concept called cellulo-psychic regenesis, which is basically when transplanted cells retained the intelligence of the donor, which is a rare side effect of transplant surgery. Here's my thought experiment.
Oh, God.
So, with vocal cords, basically the, I guess, freaking psychic intelligence of the original owner came back and made the guy say things that he didn't mean or want to say. If other organs did this, what do you think would be the side effect of other organs?
So the vocal cords are the only thing that can speak.
Yes.
So that's thank God for that.
Yes.
I don't want someone else's colon being like, I miss Taco Bell.
Yeah, that would be horrendous if other things could spep.
Yeah, thank goodness for that.
So the vocal cords is kind of obvious.
Right.
But what do you think other organs would do?
Oh, God. Well, let's think here. Oh, man. Well, okay, so that's hard because I'm thinking about, like, there's obvious differences between organs, but that's usually like a disability.
Right.
Like, if you're blind, then it's just your eyes don't work.
Yeah.
That's obvious. It's not it's not an intelligence thing.
Right.
God, what would be an example of organ intelligence? What's a person-to-person thing that isn't like necessarily an effect of the organ? God, that's really hard to think of, actually.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you this question.
Well, okay, well, the brain is an obvious one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, okay, I'm trying to think of like, okay, what's something that's like works into a habit with organs? Like, I'm thinking of like, okay, what if it's a stomach?
Right. Would the stomach revolt against the now new owner and like make you puke constantly?
I think it depends on what you're eating. Like, whatever you're eating needs to be whatever the previous person ate, or it's gonna be like, oh, I don't like this.
Right. Like it would force you to eat certain foods, otherwise it's gonna make you puke.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to think of anything outside of that because it's just like, well, other than like actually physically screwing up an organ or becoming impaired,
right,
or something like that. How does an organ maintain a level of intelligence?
Like, what would the lungs do?
Well, I mean, okay, if you're getting a smoker's lungs, they're already screwed up. If you're getting someone who vapes, they're already screwed up. Like, I don't know.
But I would assume in that case, you're not getting a smoker's lungs. You're getting healthy lungs. So if the lungs that are healthy don't like you, how would they?
I don't think it's a matter of like, oh, I guess I didn't think about that. The lungs don't like you.
The lungs don't like you.
You can't breathe.
You just stop working.
You just can't breathe. Like, I'm not breathing anymore.
I'm not expanding. I'm gonna stay shriveled up like a little prune.
A little puke.
I think I said pune. I don't know.
What's a pune?
I don't know what a pune is. That was just like a little thing that came out of me.
A little thing that came out of you.
That came out so wrong.
It did.
Okay, so lungs would just stop breathing. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the kidney that digests alcohol?
Well, not digest.
Or no, the liver.
The liver processes alcohol.
So would the liver just stop processing alcohol if it doesn't like you?
Or it might act up if it doesn't get alcohol. Sometimes a liver can get tolerant of alcohol, I guess.
Oh.
Almost depend on it. I think I've read or experienced some stories where there was something like that, where it's like he became so dependent on alcohol that he needs to drink alcohol or his kidney will stop working. That might have been a Team Fortress 2 thing, actually.
Well, so in that case, would an organ be willing, because it hates the host so much, would an organ be willing to self-destroy itself to destroy the host?
Well, what can an organ do, really, to destroy itself? Besides the heart. The heart can just, like, and explode.
Right.
But...
Well, like, in the case of the liver, for example, it would force you to keep drinking alcohol, but as a result of that, it's destroying the liver, like it's giving it poisoning, like alcohol poisoning.
I don't know.
So would that be a case in this situation?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to think of these...
I don't know. It's just interesting. It
is interesting, though. It is interesting.
I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting to think about. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And also, if this happened in real life, it would be such a pain in the ass.
Right.
Right. Anyway.
I think an arm transplant would definitely be more problematic. Any limbs, a tongue.
Oh, that's true. You could have an arm transplant and it just keeps smacking you in the face.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. I just thought it was kind of funny. So.
Yeah, really, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I got no more thoughts on Pug Ugly.
Yeah. The very last story that I have to talk about happens to be the very last story of the volume, which is the Un-American Graffiti. So do you have anything prior to that?
I wrote down The Alien Way.
Okay.
Not because of the alien guy, but because it was a nice little showcase of judge coordination. Which I think we haven't gotten for a hot second.
Yeah.
Like, we got like an air vehicle that's serving the streets below. Like, Judge Dredd signals up. He's like, oh, these guys. And then they're like, okay, we found them. He's like, okay, I'm going there. So they're really resourceful, coordinated, and just like he's there instantly. Mm-hmm. It's like a in-system hotline.
Yeah.
Which I know we have like police squads and they've got walkie-talkies, but I don't know. I feel like we haven't gotten enough of that. It's like just plain old police work action.
Yeah.
You know, I liked that.
Just how the system works.
Yeah.
Instead of like just one individual. That makes sense.
Yeah. I liked that. Yeah. Just for it being what it was. Not the alien guy. The alien guy was just like kind of showcasing how, oh yeah, these laws might be screwed up, but it's way worse on other planets. It could always be worse.
Yeah. The alien guy was, I think it was just showcasing how laws are different in different places. And that applies to real life too.
Kill people. And they're just like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Judge Dredd is like, hold on.
Hold on. No. We're not doing that.
Or like how the alien's like, I'll finish him off.
Well, I don't think the alien actually killed that one woman.
No, I don't think she did. It
was just attempted because he had a tiny little gun.
Yeah, I think it was attempted and
he was like, ow! And he's like, well, hold on, Buster.
Yeah. But how that's just like a cultural norm. It's like, oh, in my planet, we let the person finish them off, like, or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. The alien was also really goofy looking.
Yeah. Well, there might be a few more of those in Volume 5.
Of that exact alien?
No, like just aliens looking like they're from the Smurfs.
Oh, okay.
It's, yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Smurfs.
I mean, well, you know, they look like they could be from the Smurfs.
Yeah. And
who's to say that there is any Smurf resemblance, any Smurfage going on there?
Right.
Smurfage, yeah. That's screw it. That's a word now.
Any other stories?
Yeah, that's it. Let's talk about Un-American Graffiti.
Okay. Did you have any thoughts on these ones, or no, not really?
I don't know. It's just human expression, boredom. These are things that we've talked about before. Yeah. I feel like the most interesting thing about it was towards the end.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
So to summarize, we have children graffitiing the city.
Right.
And so they have something to do.
Yeah.
And that one kid who's graffitiing the kitty.
You can't speak.
The one kid who is graffitiing the city is doing that because he wants to be somebody. Yeah. My thoughts on this story, it just kind of felt depressing. And especially with the part about the kids taking an unemployment class of like, this is your future. You're going to be unemployed. So you got to find something to do. And then it showed the kids' parents, like that one woman was like, the mom of this kid that was graffitiing the city was like, my hobby is washing dishes. And when the dishes are washed, I put them in a box of dirt and then re-wash the dishes. And that sounds really funny, but if you boil it down,
it's really depressing.
It's really sad.
And then the father's like doing whatever the hell he came up with, like, I can hit eggs with my head.
Yeah, like it was, I don't even know what they called it, but he was just like, yeah, let me, I guess, you know, those tennis ball machines where it just like catapults a tennis ball at you so you can hit the tennis ball and practice tennis. It was like one of those, but with eggs. And he's like, oh yeah, I want to like break eggs on my head. And I'm just like, why? Like, it's funny, but really sad if you boil it down to the fact that these people are basically just grasping at straws to find something to do.
Right. It's really depressing.
Yeah, and the fact that they have to take an unemployment class because that's their guaranteed future for all of these kids.
Now, listen up. Your future is unemployment.
Yeah! I'm like, oh my god, this is so sad. Like, God, I didn't like it, and I'm just like, they could just fix the issue by providing more jobs.
Right.
They really could. And, like, not automating everything, because that's a thing in this future. But then, like, I don't know, we've seen stuff where they're sort of, to some degree, creating jobs, but not really. They're just creating things that people can do with their time. But then they automate the job with a robot.
Right.
I mean, some people get a job and some people are, like, running stuff. But most people are just unemployed. And I was just like, that's so sad. Just create jobs. Don't automate everything, you know, so people have a purpose in life.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a thing moving forward in the comics.
Again, I really hope not.
Right.
So that people have a purpose and that they're not just like depressed in life.
Right.
You know? Also, I was wondering, if most people don't have jobs, how do you get the money to buy the things that you need?
That's another thing that's baffled me about these comics.
Like, all these people are like, oh yeah, like, I have this hobby of eggs, for example. This guy is just wasting food by breaking eggs on his head. But wouldn't he have to buy said eggs? And if he doesn't have a job, how does he pay? And clearly there's an economy in this system because we have rich versus poor people.
Right.
But I'm just like, how do you get the money to pay for any hobby that you might have?
It's a mystery.
It is a mystery. But anyway, the whole story just felt tragic.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that there was a robot that was revealed to be the mysterious graffiti artist that the kid was competing against. And he's like, they're just up there on that wall. Or no, it was the Statue of Judgment.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, you're a robot? It's like, yes, what did he say? He said he wanted to be somebody.
Yeah, like, so the kid wanted to be somebody.
So they had a shared goal.
Yeah, they had a shared goal of both the robot and the kid wanted to be somebody and have a purpose.
Yeah.
Which you would think they would only make a certain number of robots to fulfill their duties of whatever they're doing. So you would think the robots in this world would have a purpose, but humans don't. But it's kind of interesting that they also have a surplus of robots now, too.
Yeah.
Where some of them are also depressed because they don't have a purpose.
Right. Well, I think if you have no more thoughts on that, that's the last story in Volume 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say that, well, first of all, I'm excited that we are going to be talking about Volume 5.
Yeah. How much of Volume 5 have you already read?
I think I read the first half.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, roughly. Well, maybe a little less, but yeah, it depends on when that one's. There's one story that made me backtrack, and I don't know when that was. It felt like I was about halfway through.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that before we can do that, I think now is the time. I think we can actually watch the first Judge Dredd movie.
Oh, yay! Because I was wondering when this could be a thing.
Yeah, so there are 2 Judge Dredd movies that have ever been made, really. And one of them was 1997. Don't quote me on that. And I've decided that maybe now is the time to watch that because I feel like if memory serves me correctly, I feel like that one is more akin to the earlier comics of Judge Dredd.
Okay.
But also, now that I've actually read all of these early comics, it could be the case that it might not actually be as accurate to Judge Dredd, even with the earlier stuff. So since we're moving into definitive Judge Dredd, I feel like now is the time to watch this movie because it's probably going to be very different to the comics.
Okay.
At least, especially compared to the second movie. So yes, I say let's watch that.
Okay.
So by the time we get to the next episode of this, which by the way, these are going to be less frequent. So you guys don't have to worry about like watching like a 1 hour, 40-minute something episode and then having another one come out in the next week. These are going to be so infrequent. Like we're going to be taking our time. So don't worry about catching up. But yeah, so that's going to be the next episode. We're going to be just watching that movie. So we're not going to be discussing, I don't think we're going to be discussing any comic stuff.
Okay.
We'll just, it might end up being a shorter episode.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah. That's going to be it for this episode of whatever this is. Whether it's Podblivion or it ends up being its own thing. Yep, that's it. We will see you guys when we see you. Might be a few weeks from now, might be an entire month. But yeah. What do I usually say? Oh yeah, I say leave a like, subscribe, and if you have ideas for like, first of all, if you like the Judge Dredd stuff, let us know. If you feel like we should expand a little, maybe mention that. We're going to keep going with Judge Dredd for now, but, you know, feedback is important. Feedback is a plus. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we appreciate what you guys say and give us feedback on. Also, check out Night in the Woods Our Night in the Woods Let's Play. That's currently in progress. It's we recorded all the episodes, but I have not released an episode since episode like 6. So I got to get cracking on editing at some point. There's still like a few, like one more little project that I got to get out there. Okay, but that's it. Until next time.
Whenever that is. Bye.